Treasury yields rise modestly while the dollar pulls back slightly. On the commodities front, WTI crude oil inches near $43 per barrel, on gold it pulls back to about $1,930 per ounce.
Well, you've got to look at the changes that are coming to the Dow Jones Industrial Average, because you are seeing movement in the shares that are going in and coming out. You've got Amgen up 3.5%, Honeywell up 3.5%, Salesforce.com up 2.5%. They're all going into the Dow Industrials before Monday's open. All this tied into Apple's 4-for-1 stock split, which will be complete by then. They want to maintain technology as they present to the index. Of course, you know, the Dow is price weighted, so Apple's split will bring down the percentage of technology within the average. So they add Salesforce, they put in Honeywell to go more towards industrial and away from Salesforce. They put technology represents, and is replacing Pfizer, so you get a biotech element. All the stocks coming out are lower. ExxonMobil, 2%. It's been in the Dow since 1928 when it was first expanded to a 30-stock average. Pfizer and Raytheon both off 1.5% in early trading. And speaking of Apple, it's down 0.5%. The iPhone maker's lower after the deadline passed to receive shares in the 4-for-1 split. Similar story with Tesla. It's down 1.5%. The electric car maker lower for a second day after the record date for a 5-for-1 split. Now, Tesla's split will be done at the same time as Apple after the close on Friday and take effect on Monday. Medtronic, though, up 3.5%. The hard price maker's profit for the fiscal first quarter is more than double the average analyst Bloomberg survey. Revenue beat projected by the most in more than a decade. Palo Alto Networks, on the other hand, down 3.5%. The networking equipment maker expects the amount billed to customers for the fiscal first quarter to be in line with estimates. Now, Palo Alto's fourth quarter billings top projected, so did revenue and earnings. Tiffany's down 4%. The luxury jewelry retailer extends the deadline for a $16.3 billion takeover by France's LVMH by 3 months to November 24th. Tiffany said in the filing that LVMH reserves the right to challenge whether that extension is valid. Let's see what happens there. Best Buy, sticking with retailing, down 3.8%. The consumer electronics chain said sales growth tied to reopening stores won't last through the current fiscal quarter. Best Buy's sales last quarter rose 5% at U.S. stores open more than a year. Gap's up 5%. The apparel retailer was raised 5 points with Citigroup, which doubled its 12-month share price estimate to $24. Citi cited the value of Gap's athletic wear brand Athleta. J.M. Smucker's up 4.5%. Sales and earnings of the maker of jellies, jams, peanut butter, and other foods were well above estimates for the fiscal first quarter. Smucker raised full-year forecast, and Smith & Wesson up 12.5%. The gun maker received a buy rating from Cowen after spinning off sampling of gun maker from America.
Bands of Japan. Name of the band. Name of the band is Bands of Japan. Oh, good morning. Good morning. Good morning, everybody. Hey, how are you doing? I'm loving this free music, man, in this world of free stuff, right? Everything's free, right? And socialism. Living in the socialist society, right? A fucking Trump country, right in the heart of Trump country. This socialist America where even the music is free, but it's always at a price, right? It's a great song. So there we go. So RNC on fire. Whoa, you saw the giant Trump infomercial last night? Oh man, it's great. great speakers. Trump himself was there a couple of times, right? Fucking Trump was in rare form. What an inspiring RNC convention. I wish I could support one party over the other. I see a lot of people say, "Oh, Conte, he doesn't know what he believes in. He bashes both sides." I do. I bash both sides, and sometimes I praise both sides because I disagree. I only agree with like half of what each side says. I mean, even the psychopath lunatic left says some good stuff once in a while. I mean, I think they're accurate in saying that there is some degree of police reform that needs to be done. For example, there is a need for universal health care. There is a need to raise the minimum wage and chop down the oligarchs. But the way they do it is through identity politics, which I would disagree. I don't think it has anything to do with race. It never did. It never did in our fair country. Maybe a long time ago it did, but certainly doesn't anymore. Accusing people of white privilege, get your white privilege, motherfucker, out of here. White privilege. Oh, fuck you, man. Fuck you. Fuck white privilege. What are you talking about, man? I scratch my way. I scratch and I climb. I'm a climber. Not really, though. I'm a truth teller. Right? There's a big difference between truth and ego. I know the truth community, for lack of a better term, was hijacked by a bunch of LARPers preaching truth, but really they're a bunch of phonies, right? Those guys are, those are climbers. Those are people that try to climb the ladder, try to latch onto a movement and then sink the movement, and then when the movement's gone, all you do is see them. It's deceptive, right? But the truth prevails, right? Truth is the diabolical opposite of ego, right? Where you just stay in the truth, right? What do I believe? What do I think? I don't know what I believe and what I think from day to day because it changes. Because I stay in the truth. I look at the evidence and then, and that's it, right? There's only truth based on the evidence, and then there's ego, which ego is not necessarily opinion. Ego is when you tell somebody that this is the way it is and you're wrong. My way or the highway. That's ego. Having an opinion is not ego, unless your opinion is that everybody else needs to change and I'm always right. Something like that. Right? So anyway, man, that's a heavy thought right now, man. That's a deep thought, man. Deep thoughts early in the morning. So while you're here, Mark's Conte reporting. This is what I do. I don't know what you do, but this is what I do, and I thank you for letting me do this, because without you supporting, without you carrying me on your shoulders and sharing these videos, sharing this information and this messaging, I am nothing. I am just a guy with a wounded leg. I'm just a guy running around the street with a joystick and a camera. I'm fucking sitting in my mother's basement talking to myself. That's all I would be without you. So I am you. You are me. We are together. We are one. We are one. We are oneness in the soul, in the middle. I love when spiritual people say, "Oh, it's in the center. Center yourself." What fucking center? There is no fucking center. There's balance, but there's no... Feel it in your soul. Feel it in your heart chakra. What fucking heart chakra? What are you talking about, man? This body, this physical fucking stuff here. Someone's calling. Someone's calling me. I'm a very important person. And I don't give out my number, so this is a very important call, which I am going to say no to, because I can't do both at once. I'd love to have a conversation with whoever the hell that was calling, but I can't do that right now. So good morning, everybody in the chat. Kindly become a Patreon of this channel. You do it over here through the tip jar. Right? That's how I support this fine work. Right? I would like to get the hell out of New York soon, so I might be doing a GoFundMe page to get Conte out of the city. Maybe we'll do that, man. Get me the hell out of here, right? Because it's necessary. I want to go to rural. I'm really contemplating rural America. I have a couple ideas. I don't want to give away my ideas because of the wonderful things people will do. People will try to sabotage you, right? So, but anyway, for now, just a couple of bucks in the tip jar. We'll keep the machine going, keep it oiled and ready, And if you'd like to become an ongoing supporter through Patreon, you click on this join. This is at marcusconte.com in case you missed that, and you become a Patreon. And every month, a couple of dollars comes out. $2, $5, $3, whatever. Right? And this is where all the videos live. Any videos that ever get deleted from YouTube, we just stick them on BitChute over here. It's like the garbage disposal right here. Actually, this is the place to be, right? Everybody wants to see what got deleted, right? So there you go, right? So if you're a dick online and you try to, my privacy, you violated my privacy. That's what all the LARPers do, right? They want to be public figures, and then when you expose them and attack them and bring them, bring their chickens home to roost, they cry poverty. They cry privacy. Oh, you said my real name. Yeah, fuck you, man. You have a real name, right? And you want to be in the center of things, and that's what happens to you. Jack off. This is pretty interesting. So my favorite, again, we're going to talk about the RNC convention. It was interesting. It's Trump country. It was in my view, a long infomercial. Trump was live, took a couple of good digs. A good dig at Bernie Sanders, which was amazing. A lot of good speakers. The couple the couple that were wielding guns in St. Louis spoke. So we'll look at a little bit of that. But let's just a little philosophy first from the good CaitlinJohnstone.com. Caitlin Johnstone, a great writer, writes this: as we contemplate what party would we like to lead us into the unknown, into the future. What party? Is it the dirty Democrats, the cheating motherfucking Democrats? Or is the money-grabbing Republicans, the red Republicans that will say anything for a buck? The sellout Republicans. Well, what party? Is it any of those things, or is it a little of both, right? Or neither? See, I'm not ideologically centered in between either one of them. I'm diabolically opposite. Right, outside of those two parties, because those two parties are just, you can't be 50% truthful. Right? You can't. Telling the truth half the time is not cool. Is not in balance with nature. You're out of balance if half of what you say, half of what comes out of your mouth is a fucking lie, or you lie. For example, vote for me, and then we know that the elections are rigged. That's a full lie. That's a complete lie. It's good to vote. Well, that's partially true, but it's not good to vote for people who cheat, and your vote is not really counted. It's just a mechanism by which to get your consent for us screwing you over. Right? But anyway, so it's hard to support any one of these parties. This is interesting, right? Because this is the big picture right here. Caitlin Johnstone says, the U.S. tortures journalists and whistleblowers, arms terrorists. Raise your hand if any of this is untrue, by the way. Raise your hands if any of what this author is saying is untrue. You could put a 1 in there, and maybe we'll look at it. The U.S. tortures journalists and whistleblowers, arms terrorists, kills children with starvation sanctions, wages endless wars, facilitates mass atrocity in Yemen, repeatedly uses nuclear weapons on civilian populations, circles the entire planet with hundreds of military bases, and bullies every nation on earth using military and economic force. But yeah, we need to let them remain in charge of the world, or else an evil government might take over. Whoa. Man, that's such a deep dig, but so truthful, right? That's truth. Right? That is the unadulterated truth right there. Don't take advice from miserable people. This is a good advice for everybody. Don't take advice from miserable people. Don't take creative advice from people who don't create. Don't join religions and facilitate child rape. Don't join political parties that don't help the public. Don't give military power to people with a history of bad military decisions. This is one more quote. She says this is good too. Think tanks. Those are the super PACs are technically think tanks with a lot of money behind them. think tanks, are institutions which pay academics to think up reasons why it would be smart and good to do something evil and stupid, then insert those reasons into key points of influence. Mainstream media cites them as authorities on foreign policy because mainstream media is propaganda. Oh, this is brilliant right here. This is brilliant right here. Watch this. Now, in terms of spiritual, I think that Kalen Johnstone is some sort of Buddhist or some sort of meditator, some sort of enlightened kind of character moving towards enlightenment. So I like what she says. A spiritual seeker approaches an enlightened master and asks, "What is the path to enlightenment?" The master points at the seeker's chest and says, "The path is in you." The seeker immediately experiences satora. I don't know what that means. He wandered away, and people noticed a sincere expression on his face. "Did the old master help you awaken?" they ask. "Yes," he replied. "Well, what is the path?" He thought a minute, remembering what he'd been told, and pointed to his chest, said, "The path is in me." They all oohed and ahed and sat at his feet. And that's how gurus were invented. Oh, man, that flies in the face of every religion, right? Because the truth is within you. The path is within you. And some jackoff turns around and says, the path is within me, and I'll tell you how to get there. That's the jackoff. The guru, the teacher, never says that I am the path, I am the way. Like every single bogus religion that came thereafter. This all predates, all the crazy religions, right? The Buddha sat 2,500 years ago on. So anyway, that's the teaching right there, man. So anyway, what else we got? Oh, so there's this excellent 1-minute video by Synthetic Rebellion, a hit piece on Conte. Holy shit! I give it another thumbs up. I already gave it a thumbs up. All right, so I don't know if I'm allowed to play this because with these LARPers, is this guy a LARPer? I don't know who Synthetic Rebel is. I have no idea, but the video is very funny. Now, I want to play the video in its entirety at 1 minute and 7 seconds. Now, just as a point, YouTube, before these guys, because a lot of times these are traps, right? You put up a good video and then Conte plays it and they strike it down with a copyright. But you can't do that, jerk-offs, because you know why? Because you took my stuff and you remixed it, and I'm okay with that. You did it. You took my stuff, you did a little remix, and then you spit it back out with a little soundtrack behind it. It's original work, I agree. But for me to play it and to criticize it is fair use, and I'll show you what I mean, right? Fair use on YouTube. The different countries have different rules, but in the United States, works of commentary, that's what this is, criticism, research, teaching, or news reporting might be considered fair use. So this is fair use. They're reporting. This reporter is trying this creator is trying to frame me as an idiot and a guy running around with a fake press pass, and that's fine, right? You can do that. I'm okay with it because he did it in good taste. So I'm going to play it as a news reporter. You see how the anchor is playing it? I'm asking your permission. I asked you on the thread right here. I said, here's my formal request to republish. May I copy this video, repost it elsewhere with full credit to the creditor? After all, it's a remix of my material. Thanks in advance. So I'm asking for a formal express written consent to republish. But this is not republishing. This is the latter. You got to, because people are dicks, right? So if you strike this because I'm playing it, then we will have a lawsuit and you will lose. So don't do that. Don't fall into the trap of being a dick. Don't be a dick, right? You did some good work here, and now I'm going to try to exploit it for you. I'm going to try to tell people about it. But if you're a dick about it, if you fall into the lines, you got Cromer up your ass, that dick. The fucking losers, right? If you got these loser LARPers, or Dave Acton, Conte did something, let's sue him. Or Thomas Schoenberger, Conte, you stalked my kid. You listen to these fools, these psychopaths. You align yourself with these idiots. and you'll remain an idiot for the rest of your life. Right? Or you can join the side of truth, the side of goodness, the side of caring and wit and inspiration. Right? The truth is within you, and that's what I help you see. I'm no guru. I'm the master. I'm the master who tells you to look. I point to your chest and say the magic is within you. Release it. So let's watch the stupid video. That was my pitch, man. It's pretty funny, man. What's up, everybody? Hey, really how you doing, man? What's up, man? Mark's Conte reporting. Mark's Conte, the online troll. Mark's Conte, the online LARPer. He's incapable of shutting his hole. Mark's Conte reporting. He's delusional. He's telling stories, things that don't make sense. Mark's Conte, LARPer. Insane dysfunction online. Mark's Conte reporting. I can publicly attack you and then blame you for attacking me back. Mark's Conte, he's quite a piece of work. Mark's Conte, he's quite a piece of shit. He's just extremely persistent. Mark's Conte reporting, I do all kinds of stupid shit like that, saying stupid things. Frivolous disputes, right? His case has absolutely no merit. Totally frivolous. The racist Negro. Get your white privilege out of here. Frivolous disputes. Oh, here's my press pass, by the way. I always have this dangling. Amazing press. See, I work for AP. Valid for the rest of my life. Mark's Conte, dime store phony. You gotta compensate for your stupidity. So who did it? Wow, that's fucking awesome, right? Fucking good job, man. Good job. Synthetic Rebellion. Go over to their channel, subscribe. Got 250 views. Look at that. Let's get that way up there, man. Everybody go watch it. Get it up to a couple hundred, 500, 800, 1,000. Let's put that shit over the top, man. Maybe it'll, whatever, man. So it's good work, man. It's titled Marcus Conte Trolling, LARPing, and Frivolous Lawsuits. That's a nice cut. Right? I liked it. So anyway, man, it's, you take a dig, right? Do I believe, we'll talk about, I mean, in terms of free press, right? Free press is free press. I don't need to work for some jerk-off CNN, MSNBC, or the New York Post to be press. How foolish, right? Free press means free press. Anybody could be the free press, right? I am Amazing Press. That is my organization. I have Amazing Press. Now that video, by the way, it has a little frivolous. It has a little bit of feel to someone that we might know. So who is really behind making this thing? But anyway, we'll move right along, man. Thank you very much for that video. I appreciate it, and I'd like to repost it if that's okay with you. So here's a couple of what did I want to say? I don't know what I want to say. So a couple of small stories. That's what I wanted to say. That's what I want to say. It's hard to think and click at the same time. Sometimes clicking and reading is hard. So is Kim Jong-un dead or in a coma? This is the rumor that's flashing around. Right? It's interesting, right? Because Kim Yo-jong could be even worse for North Korea than Kim Jong-un. So who's Kim Yo-jong? That's a sister. The sister. Is he dead? Is he in a coma? North Korean dictator Kim Jong-un's sister could be the Hermit Kingdom's most brutal leader if she succeeds him. Kim Yo-jong, 32, appeared poised to take the reins of power amid a claim that her older brother has been in a coma for months and his recent public appearances have been staged. Wow. Do we even know if he's dead or alive? Does it really matter? Is it interesting? But so there she is, right? Attractive, right? She's not a dog, right? She's a brother fat fuck, right? She looks like she takes care of herself. She eats well. So there she is serving the brother, but man, she's going to step right into power, right? She's going to step right into power. Powerful vagina in the North Korea, right? Running the most powerful, the most influential hermit nation in the world, run by a woman. Ooh, how's that going to work out, right? Because then all that manly shit, right? With Kim Jong-un, he's got his harem. He's got a harem full of young women, like 200 women that service him. They got the tug and pull crowd, the tug and pull department, and then there's the back rub department, and the chicks that light his cigarettes and dance in front of him and all that shit, right? All that goes out the window. What replaces them? Is it men petting dogs and playing with children? What are women like? I don't fucking know. I have no idea. Is it men doing push-ups? I don't know. I have no idea, but it would be interesting how a powerful woman, even in this country, if we should ever get a woman president, it would be interesting to see a woman's touch at the top, right? A woman's vibe trickling down to all of the little people. So, and I think the United States is ready for it. We just haven't seen the right woman. That's the problem, right? But North Korea might just see her, and I don't know. I don't know. It's impossible to say if he's in a coma or what. But it's damn interesting, man. It's a damn fucking interesting story. So this is sick, right? This is a sick little story before we get into the RNC stuff. And the dirty Democrats. Oh, the responses to the Republicans. Woman declared dead, found alive inside Detroit funeral home. Oh my God! Right? How the fuck did the fire department and the hospital, not the hospital, but the ambulance guys, and how did, because they leave you dead. You're laying fucking there about an hour or two before the funeral parlor even comes and picks you up. How the hell did they miss that? How the hell did they pronounce someone dead after giving CPR for 30 minutes, and the bitch snapped out of it? Is that some sort of drug-induced thing? Maybe she was in a drug-induced coma. But listen to the report; it's pretty funny.
A shocking discovery at a Detroit funeral home.
This really seems unbelievable, but a woman originally pronounced dead is found alive. Fox 2's Veronica Meadows is live with reaction from the funeral home, as well as the fire department. Veronica, what are we learning?
Good morning to you, Amy. The latest details as to the latest details we have as to what happened. Say staff inside the James H. Cole Funeral Home made that discovery on Sunday. It's on Schaefer near Puritan. As you said, that woman was pronounced dead. Staff at the funeral home say they found her very much alive. This all started Sunday morning. The Southfield Fire Department says they got called to a home for an unresponsive woman. They found the 20-year-old not breathing. The fire department says paramedics performed
20 years old. That's important. 20 years old.
Performed CPR for a half hour, but they say given medical readings and the patient's condition, they determined she didn't have signs of life. A statement from Fire Chief Johnny Menifee says in part, because there was no indication of foul play, as was standard operating procedure, the Oakland County Medical Examiner's Office was contacted and given the medical data. The patient was again determined to have expired, and the body was released directly to the family to make arrangements with a funeral home of their choosing. But staff at the James H. Cole Funeral Home says they found the woman was alive. A statement from them says in part, we received a call to pick up a Southfield woman who was deceased. After receiving clearance from the Oakland County Medical Examiner's Office, she was transported to our funeral home. Upon her arrival at the funeral home, our staff confirmed she was breathing and called EMS. The Detroit Fire Department says they took the woman to a nearby hospital. We are still working to figure out exactly how she's doing this morning. We are expecting to learn more about this case. We'll have the latest later this evening on Fox 2 and the latest also on fox2detroit.com. We're live on Detroit's West Side. Veronica Meadows, back to you.
Wow, that's amazing, right? Imagine that. I mean, of course you think to yourself, if I hope I'm dead before they put me in the box, right? But it makes you wonder about certainly the resilience of the person. You definitely want to, I mean, if that woman, that 20-year-old woman lives, what a fucking story, man. She came back from the dead. She should get her own show, right? Her own show where she strives back from the dead, man. What a fucking crazy story, man. Definitely an aberration, definitely a anomaly, right? That doesn't happen often, right? I've never heard that happen before where someone, I mean, back in the day, people would, someone they think was dead, someone would get shot and then they put him in a box and suddenly you'd see them kicking out of the box, right? Or the mob, they would throw you in the trunk and then they'd fucking kick in the trunk. You remember in Goodfellas where they shot that guy and stabbed him 100 times, and they threw him in the trunk, and he was still alive, and they had to open the trunk and fucking kill him, right? They had to re-kill him all over again, right? It makes you wonder, too, with the funeral parlor, right? The funeral parlor's got a customer. This is a customer. Just fucking embalm him. I know he's alive. She's alive. Is she alive? No. They say he's dead. The piece of paper says she's dead. Fucking embalm the bitch. Right? They didn't do that. They gave the body back, man, because it was still alive. That's a crazy story, man. Just the craziest times ever. So here's Trump. Last night was the RNC, day one. Trump vowed to speak it every night, but here's just a preliminary. And Bernie Sanders is the greatest loser I've ever seen. Listen to this. This is brilliant.
Everybody here is going to vote. Everybody in our...
It's a little low, so you might have to squeeze to hear it. I don't know why. It's Trump not biting into the mic. He's speaking very low. He's not using his... He's not leaning into the mic, and that's what we got.
I mean, we have a tremendous base. They don't. They have no enthusiasm for their candidate. Because frankly, Bernie Sanders, they have much more enthusiasm for him. But Bernie Sanders, excuse me, again, he's the greatest loser I've ever seen. This guy can lose and be so happy. Hillary Clinton, I want to use nice language, so I don't want to use a certain word. It starts with the word S-C. I don't want to use it because they'll say he used foul language while in North Carolina. So I won't do that. But Bernie Sanders got taken advantage of, is that okay? By Hillary Clinton, but worse, by the Democrats this time. Because if Pocahontas, Elizabeth Warren, got out of the campaign one day prior to the Super Tuesday vote, Bernie Sanders would have won every single state because Biden won by a little bit, and she didn't do well, but she took thousands and thousands of votes away in each state. If you add just a percentage of those votes back, that means that Bernie would have won easily the nomination.
Yep.
And I'm glad he didn't because he had much more enthusiasm.
Yep.
And he would have had a base, much smaller base than ours, but
Wrong.
Equally, I have to say this, equally as enthusiastic. This base.
That's where Trump is wrong. Bernie would have gotten the enthusiastic base, and he would have got the shut-eye Democrats that vote for whoever they're told to vote for. And that's a large portion of the country. Right? Bernie Sanders would have run Trump's clock. Right? Now, again, you could argue that it's a good thing, it's a bad thing, whatever. That's history. That's what ifs. Right? But the fact is that Sanders would have won. Sanders would have beat Trump in 2016. He would have beat him, and he would have beat him again. Well, he wouldn't. If Trump decided to run again, Bernie would have beat him.
They don't like Joe Biden. They don't like Joe Biden. I think we're going to get a lot of votes. We did last time. People were surprised, primarily because of trade, because I know how other countries take advantage of us, and I understand that. And that's something that Bernie Sanders people really feel, because I understand trade. I've done USMCA now. I got rid of NAFTA, the world's worst trade deal. China tariffs. I mean, China had the worst year they've had in 67 years prior to the plague. The worst year they've had in decades and decades. And we had the best year we've ever had. But we took in billions from China. We never took in 10 cents from China. Never took in 10 cents. They took China for 25 years, and not only Obama, for 25 years, China was taking in anywhere between 200 billion with a B and $550 billion from the United States. I give them all the credit, number one, for being smart and outfoxing all of the people that stood here and their representatives. But China, we built China. We helped build. We gave them.
He's very right about the whole China thing. We did. We built China. We created China. Probably like, I don't know, maybe it looks like the late 1980s, right around the time of Reagan, where you remember George H.W. Bush, the older George H.W. Bush, when he won, when he got in, right? He was only a one-term president. People forget that. He was a one-term president. He got beat by Bill Clinton running the second time. An incumbent president got beat by a rookie governor from Arkansas, Bill Clinton. But the point, I lost my train of thought on that one. Oh, China. China was invented as a way, when that's what I wanted to say. Excuse me. George H.W. Bush, if you recall, when he was elected, and he went to do business, right? When he was doing government business, he loaded up the plane with the corporations, the heads of all the top corporations. He put them on a plane and he flew there and said, "How can we do business here?" That was George H.W. Bush, the Republican, selling out your country. And from there, that was the planting of the seeds in China, the modern day China, not old China. Old China's, that's when China was still in abject poverty. They've lifted millions and millions, hundreds of millions of people out of poverty as a result of our doing, as a result of our shifting our economy away from us and giving it to them. So Trump is right. Trump is accurate in that. But the problem is you can't blame China. You have to blame yourself. First of all, you got to look back at your own history. Who started it? Whose idea was it? It was Reagan and George H.W. Bush. Nixon did wonders for China, but that was 20 years before. Nixon made China peaceful. Nixon brought China to the diplomatic table to say, "Hey, no, China's not crazy, right?" But Reagan and George H.W. Bush took it to the next level and made it. They took the corporations there. And then when H.W. Bush lost, the Democrats do what they always do. They just go along with whatever's happening. Clinton had no original ideas. Those were the ideas throughout the 90s. That's why the markets roared, because of the corporations were making tons of money by exporting the labor, taking the labor away from us, making things. Nobody wants to make anything. Nobody wants to use their hands anymore. So he's right about that. Is he right about Bernie Sanders and how Hillary Clinton, not Hillary, but what's her fucking name? Pocahontas stabbed them in the back. They all dropped out during Super Tuesday. Yeah, he's a very accurate depiction of what's going on, Mr. Trump. So there was a couple of good ones. This is the RNC convention, and I just wanted to play the couple.
The president who shared private moments like this with soldiers, victims of violent crime, and people.
The first one I queued up is Herschel Walker. This is awesome.
Who've had businesses destroyed by the mob. That's the individual who's made America great again, and who knows America's best days.
This is Jim Jordan. Who cares?
Are still in front of us, and that's why I'm busting my tail to help him get reelected. I'm asking you to do the same. Thank you, and God bless our country.
Herschel Walker.
I'm not an actor, a singer, or a politician. I'm Herschel Walker. Most of you know me as a football player.
The guy's one of the greatest athletes that ever lived. Not only was he a football player, but he was a mixed martial artist. He was just an amazing he was a sprinter. Whatever sport he entered, he just mastered. He was brilliant, really brilliant athlete.
But I'm also a father, a man of faith, and a very good judge of character. I've known Donald Trump for 37 years, and I don't mean just casual ran into him from time to time. I'm talking about a deep personal friendship. I watched him as the owner of a professional football team. Right after he bought the team, he set out to learn. He learned about the history of the team, the players, the coaches, every detail. Then he used what he learned to make the team better. I watched him in the boardroom. He can be in the middle of a big meeting, but if one of the kids was on the phone, he dropped everything to take the call. He taught me that the family should be your top priority. I watched him treat janitors, security guards, and waiters the same way he would treat a VIP. He made them feel special because he knew they were. He understands that they are the...
Is Herschel Walker lying, or is it his actual observation of Trump? I think it's very good. I think it's very accurate.
People who make this country run. They clean, they cook, they build, they drive, they deliver. He told me, Herschel, make an effort to get to know people. Remember their names. That stuck with me. One time,
I always said, watch out, Democrats. Donald Trump is speaking to Black America, to African American America. not the racist blacks that are running around in the street claiming all white people are racist. He's talking to the real people, the heartland of America, right? That happen to be, black, whatever that means. He's speaking to them, right? That's why Trump wins. This illusion that somehow Trump is a racist and can't win black vote is totally ridiculous. The Democrats know it. That's why they keep repeating the same lie over and over, so that maybe you repeat it, and that they try to shame blacks. But wait a second, thinking blacks are not going to vote. They're not voting for which white guy do I want to be the president. They don't like either one of them. But the way you're supposed to vote is what's in it for me. There's no shame in that. What do I get out of this? What's in it for me? What's in it for my family? What's in it for my situation? What makes my situation better? That's who I want to vote for. Right? And that's what most, I think, thinking people that are not racists, that don't see themselves as black or white or Hispanic or Chinese or whatever, man. They just say, who's better for me? And I think Herschel Walker makes some good points about why Trump is better for black America. I really do.
Plan to take his kids to Disney World with my family. At the last minute, Donald said he'd like to join us. So there he was, in a business suit, on It's a Small World ride. That was something to see. It just shows you what a caring, loving father he is. It hurt my soul to hear the terrible names that people call Donald. The worst one is racist. I take it as a personal insult that people would think I've had a 37-year friendship with a racist. People who think that don't know what they're talking about. Growing up in the Deep South, I've seen racism up close. I know what it is, and it isn't Donald Trump. Just because someone loves and respects the flag, our national anthem, and our country, doesn't mean they don't care about social justice. I care about all those things. So does Donald Trump. He shows how much he cares about social justice in the black community through his actions. And his action speaks louder than stickers or slogans on a jersey. He keeps right on fighting to improve the lives of black Americans and all Americans. He works night and day. He never stops. He leaves nothing on the field. Some people don't like his style, the way he knocks down obstacles that get in the way of his goals. People on the opposing team didn't like when I ran over them either. But that's how you get the job done. I pray every night that God gives him more time. Give him 4 more years. He has accomplished so much almost all by himself on a constant attack. But there's still more work to be done. If you love America and want to make it better, Donald Trump is your president. He's my president, and I'm blessed to call him friend.
Yeah, man. Whoa, Herschel Walker. Wow, it's powerful, right? It's powerful. And Weevil Girl says, I want policies, not platitudes. Couldn't agree more. Yeah, couldn't agree more, Weevil Girl. That what we just heard is platitude, but it's feel good. It feels good. It's like a tearjerker. Oh, Donald's my friend. Donald's my friend. He came to Disneyland, sat with my kids. We went on a ride together. So it's platitude. I get you, but. In terms of policy, Trump touches on his China thing. Trump doesn't have any idea, really. He doesn't get it in terms of he perceives when people say they want a piece of the action. When people in America, young people, as Antifa people, are saying they've been cut out of everything. They've been totally the youth of America, the millennial generation, has been so cut out of shit, and they just want to get. They don't see a way through the system to get that stuff back. They're getting fucked with student loans. They're getting screwed with, low income waging. They're getting screwed with go to college and someday you'll be something. It's just all fucking lies. Everything that these young people are being told are lies. So when you see a 19-year-old girl fashionably dressed walking in a Black Lives Matter rally with a big sign, carrying a huge sign that says, fuck the system. You got to listen to that. It's not fuck you, it's fuck the system. The system has fucked me, and I want change, right? And how do you do that? Well, young people, I think it's rather inescapable that most young people in this country agree with that. I think there's a whole underworld, a whole counterculture of young people that we don't even know what they're thinking. I mean, I'm too old to even know because they're not going to talk to me, but they talk to each other. And they chat it up, and they seem to be, you notice it when you see them together, how you see young people together. It's generational gap. There is a generational gap between young people and anybody over 30 maybe, right? It doesn't mean that you disagree with them. It just means that you're really not, they don't trust you. They don't trust people over 30 because they've been screwed so many times, right? They don't trust you with their deep, dark secrets about anything, really. They're not going to talk to you. That's generational. That's not new. That's not new. That's the ancient proverb, if you don't give young people a seat in the tribe, in the town, they will burn it down just to feel its warmth. They're not gonna sit there and get shit on. They know the difference. That's why simultaneously, hundreds of thousands of young people came out of nowhere. Right? All of a sudden, they're marching in the street. Black Lives Matter. Right? Fuck the system. Fuck the police. Fuck everything. Right? All of a sudden, the anger and the angst in the heat of a pandemic, a fictional pandemic, they still came out. So that's what's going on. I think I don't know why. Herschel Walker certainly didn't speak to that, but that's what I gather is going on. Let's just watch the couple. This was another fascinating one. There's a lot of shitty old politicians that spoke, but these are the ones that stood out to me. Somewhere, 36, yeah, right about here.
God bless America, and God bless our president.
You see it right now. Yeah, these are just staged politicians. Watch.
A curfew now in effect for the city of St. Louis.
Protests in St. Louis turned violent.
Mark McCloskey says he and his family have been threatened with violence.
Under Missouri law, you have a right to defend your home and the lives of your family.
A search warrant has been executed at the home of Mark and Patricia McCloskey.
The husband and wife attorneys charged with pointing guns at protesters.
They were simply trying to protect their home.
Good evening, America. We are Mark and Patty McCloskey. We're speaking to you tonight from St. Louis, Missouri, where just weeks ago you may have seen us defending our home as a mob of protesters descended on our neighborhood.
America is such a great country that not only do you have the right to own a gun and use it to defend yourself, but thousands of Americans will offer you free advice on how to use it. At least that's what we experienced. What you saw happen to us could just as easily happen to any of you who are watching from quiet neighborhoods around our country. And that's what we want to speak to you about tonight.
That's exactly right. Whether it's the defunding of police, ending cash bail so criminals can be released back out on the streets the same day to riot again.
I love watching amateur speakers. You saw the wife mouth the words. The words are all written down on a teleprompter, and they're trying their best to read it. They're on their best behavior.
Or encouraging anarchy and chaos on our streets. It seems as if the Democrats no longer view the government's job as protecting honest citizens from criminals, but rather protecting criminals from honest citizens. Not a single person in the out-of-control mob you saw at our house was charged with a crime. But you know who was? We were. They've actually charged us with felonies for daring to defend our home. On top of that, consider this. The Marxist liberal activist leading the mob to our neighborhood stood outside our home with a bullhorn screaming, "You can't stop the revolution." Just weeks later, that same Marxist activist won the Democrat nomination to hold a seat in the U.S. House of Representatives. In the city of St. Louis, that's the same as winning the general election. That Marxist revolutionary is now going to be the Congresswoman from the 1st District of Missouri. These radicals are not content with marching in the streets. They want to walk the halls of Congress. They want to take over. They want power.
Of course they do. What's the illusion? Of course they want power. They want to get rid of what's in front of them. That's That's no myth. It is interesting to listen to these two because we never heard their voice prior to now. At least I didn't. Right? And it's pretty good. It's pretty good stuff.
This is Joe Biden's party. These are the people who will be in charge of your future and the future of your children.
They're not satisfied with spreading the chaos and violence into our communities. They want to abolish the suburbs altogether by ending single-family home zoning. This forest-free zoning would bring crime, lawlessness, and low-quality apartments into now thriving suburban neighborhoods. President Trump smartly ended this government overreach, but Joe Biden wants to bring it back. These are the policies.
So anyway, that was another one. If you just click through, there was so many speakers. There's so many plastic people that spoke. I don't know who the fuck that guy is. I don't want any part of what that guy has to say. I'm a racist. I just judged him on his perfect hair. There was a couple of good ones. Why am I hitting all the? I'm hitting all the cartoons. I mean the commercials. Anyway, man. Anyway, my connection's a little slow right here. Da la 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 la. This guy spoke. Who else? There's a couple of good ones. Anyway, so that's what's going on. So. What is this? Trump to direct federal agencies to move into opportunity zones. This article struck me as being different, something significant here. President Trump on Monday will order federal agencies to prioritize moving their offices to, quote, opportunity zones to spur investment in some of the nation's poorest neighborhoods, the Post has learned. The move will apply to all federal agencies and asks that they stop prioritizing city centers and central business districts and instead base themselves in any of the 8,769 low-income communities designated as an opportunity zone by the Trump administration. Wow, that's very interesting. Trump now has jurisdiction, or is claiming jurisdiction, to give money to something called an opportunity zone. I've never heard anything like this. The initiative has driven more than $75 billion in private investment into disadvantaged communities in 2 years since it was created. I never heard of it, according to a report released. So what that says to me is that Trump has the authority of some sort to allocate $75 billion, not to just cities, but what about places like, West Virginia, where these are, because they're all white people, you can't give money to bail them out. You got to go to the shittiest parts of New York City or the shithole in Chicago, and that's where you put the money, or fucking downtown LA where everybody's shooting each other. No, put it in neighborhoods with respectable people. So that's interesting. What does Nancy Pelosi have to say? Pelosi calls Republicans domestic enemies of the state. Wow, that's so fucking mean and so enemies of the state, those Republicans. Meanwhile, Nancy Pelosi has stolen $100 million in her career. She probably got like $20 million working at Goldman Sachs. That's why they get all the advantages. People don't know about that a lot of these very, very high-end investment firms like Goldman Sachs, for example, handles the personal wealth of, hundreds of thousands of wealthy people. Maybe not hundreds of thousands, but thousands of very, very wealthy people. The wealthiest people in the world, even people like Bruce Springsteen or, rock stars, like they put their money with Goldman Sachs. They put I think you need a minimum of $10 million to have an account with Goldman Sachs, but you see returns. That 10 million becomes 12 million. That 12 million becomes 15 million. That's how the wealthy work. They get that money and they never have to work again because the interest on their investment, the principal is never touched. They never lose their nut. Right? Even with $1 million, they can live on, if you have $1 million, you can live on that if you invest it properly, right? And but most people live hand to mouth, and people like Nancy Pelosi are totally out of touch with people that actually have to work to eat. And here she is. Pelosi calls Republicans domestic enemies of the state. Pelosi raged against President Trump and congressional Republicans on Monday, telling MSNBC, reputable, that they're domestic enemies of election integrity. Think about that. Nancy Pelosi, the people that just screwed Bernie Sanders, orchestrated the whole get everybody to drop out before Super Tuesday, is saying that the Republicans are domestic enemies of election integrity. Just think about how ridiculous that is. Think about how obscene that is. And it goes back here to what Caitlin Johnstone was saying. I love ending on her. The U.S. tortures journalists and whistleblowers, arms terrorists. Nancy Pelosi is the Speaker of the House. She controls 435 congresspeople. And, over at the Senate, that's another 100. But she controls 435 people. She directs the House of Representatives. And this is what we get. U.S. tortures journalists and whistleblowers. Where's the Democrats complaining about that? Arms terrorists. Of course they do. Kills children with starvation sanctions. Venezuela, for example. Wages endless wars. Facilitates mass atrocities in Yemen. Now, Trump vetoed the bill to end the war in Yemen. I will repeat that. Donald Trump was given the opportunity to end the war in Yemen, end the United States support of the war in Yemen, to stop supporting Saudis killing the fuck out of people in Yemen. And Donald Trump vetoed that bill so that Saudi Arabia can continue to keep Yemen as a shithole so that they can radicalize people and fight their wars in Iraq, fight their wars in Israel, fight their wars. That's what Trump did. Facilitate mass atrocities in Yemen. Repeatedly use nuclear weapons on civilian populations. I think the United States is the only country to ever have nuked anybody else. We nuked Japan 2 times, right? Nagasaki and Hiroshima. Right? We're the only country that ever did that. Right? Circles the entire planet with hundreds of military bases and bullies every nation on earth using military. That's who we are, people. That's who we are. But yeah, we need to let them remain in charge of the world, or else an evil government might take over. Right? So, to your point, Weevil Girl, that I would agree. We have to when you want to talk about policy, we have to talk about the policy of torturing journalists and whistleblowers, the policy of arming terrorists, like in Syria. For example, notice that there's no more ISIS. You never hear the word ISIS anymore because ISIS was a counterintelligence operation that went bad. We funded ISIS, and then when we stopped funding them, ISIS went away. It just, it acclimates into something else. It transforms into something else. So did Trump decimate ISIS? Yeah, he did. In the form that it was. Right? So we need a policy. We need policies. I couldn't agree more. Facilitate mass atrocities in Yemen. We had the policy. Trump vetoed the policy. Repeatedly used nuclear weapons. Yeah, we should have a memorandum on nuclear weapon. Right? Nuclear energy. Yeah, that's good. But nuclear weapons, bullying every nation. I've said long and hard on this channel that we need to decrease the military-industrial complex by defunding it substantially. Right? Why do we have $750 billion going to the military? Why not chop that down to an easy couple of billion? Right? Have a couple, or do what most countries do: arm your citizens. Require that every citizen in this country, every citizen over 18 is required to own and operate a firearm. And you don't need all these police. You don't need all these military, right? So I couldn't agree more with the fact that policy is very important. And just to reinforce the fact that the Democrats are totally full of shit and totally will not stand on policy at all, Kamala Harris furiously backpedals over eliminating private health insurance. One of the key, anybody who says that the leftist wing of the Democratic Party, Bernie Sanders and AOC, is leading the charge, is totally ridiculous. Bernie Sanders isn't leading shit. Bernie Sanders got shut down on almost every one of his policies. They've moved to the center, and they're using Bernie Sanders as a smear, AOC as a smear. Everybody on that side of the fence believes that there should be no private insurance, that it should be a single-payer system where the government flips the bill, driving the prices down and driving the availability of health care up for all people. That's the fundamental argument of universal health care. And I want to end on this. I want to end on this note. This is a heavy prediction, but it's true. It occurs to me, right? Having I do news, I read news on a daily basis. I get out into the world and I interact with the world, and I try to formulate opinions, and I try to be funny sometimes at it. And I investigated these hospitals and sickness and death, or lack thereof in the coronavirus pandemic, and a lot of other subjects too. And while we're all while the mainstream media is trying to get us, convinced, the Q phenomena that all politicians, the only thing we have to do is rid government of pedophiles, and everything will be fine. That's a huge victory to ignorance, right? Because that's not what's causing it at all. But it does occur to me this, and I'll say it as clearly as I can. I think what we're going to see in this country, as a result of the coronavirus scare, is a lot of death. I think that is on the horizon. I think what comes next is an enormous amount of death and illness. And on the other side of that, an enormous amount of life and health. Now, let me clarify, right? I think that right now, as people, I always said that people isolating, they're isolated in their homes. Right? Think about it. They're even getting a name now, the pajama crowd, right? Where they don't leave the house. They wear their pajamas, they do their stupid work or whatever it is they do, and they don't get out of the house. And those are the people that they're getting fatter. They're getting sicker. They're getting more sedentary, as if they weren't sick enough. Right? Those people that you'd see in cubicles, right? When you work for the city, and you walk around the lay of the land, right? And you see these enormous fat people that can't even get out of a chair. They got a walker. It's not that they're old or incapacitated. They're incapacitated because they're so out of shape, because they've bought into that sedentary lifestyle where they have to sit in that fucking chair and do what they're told. Right? Some of these people, the most fascinating part of it is that they don't even get up to go to eat lunch. They sit at their table and have lunch. They don't get up. They only get up. I would imagine if they were sitting on a toilet bowl, they wouldn't even get up to go to the bathroom. They should just install toilets on the fucking city chairs. Right? It's just so. These people are not. It once was my belief that people were waking up and people would get healthier, right? But they're not. They're wearing the masks. People bring up no masks, no gloves. Picking my ass and nose and eating it. says Lord Rothschild in there. Thanks for sharing, man. But yeah, you have to be exposed to the elements. I go out every single day. I do push-ups in the dirt. I run across the field barefoot. I run up hills. I tree lean. I do push-ups on the trees, the roots. I get dirty. Right? I'll roll around, especially in the beach. I'll roll around in the sand, jump in the ocean. You got to connect with the elements, and I think people that are so afraid that they're breathing in bad air. I mean, it's bad enough that you breathe in bad air in your house. Some people close the windows because of the bugs or the air conditioner. I have air conditioner on right now because when I'm doing the show, the whole fucking room heats up. It's just magic, man. My fucking body heat is it's 95 degrees even when it's cold out. So I turn the air conditioner on when I do this. But once I get up, I turn it off and I open the windows and blow the fans on. But people that are living indoors and not going outside are going to become very, very sick when the next wave of flu hits. And the mainstream media will say, see, we were right, coronavirus this, coronavirus that. But it is, I don't think it's. I think biologically it's inescapable. People are walking around with masks. They're degerminating everything that they touch. They are deathly afraid to get even sick to the point of, like, I got a little stomach virus the other day. I got like food poisoning or something, right? And it causes your body to fight, right? Don't hide when you're sick like that. Or yesterday I felt a little low blood sugar, a little low blood pressure. I was getting a little dizzy while I was exercising. You know what I did? I exercised more. Or I sat for a while cross-legged until it passed. And then I began to do the exercise again. I didn't go crying to some doctor saying, please help me, give me a pill. I looked at what was causing it. Was it the heat? Was it lack of water? Was it too many exercises in one day? Was it the fact that I'm eating less and exercising more and losing weight? What caused it? You know, I'm in my 50s, so I'm open to the notion, and you sit there and you analyze your own body. Why am I out of breath? What just happened? What kind of storm is going through my body right now? Let me understand this so that I can become healthier, right? And that's not all the time. That's just once in a while. That's just like a rarity, right? And you don't say, "Oh, look, I got sick and I have to stop what I'm doing." No, you get sick, or you're having what I chalk it up to is, I was having a bad day. I'm able to assess the fact that for some reason I'm having a bad day. And whatever that means, it's just that I'm not physically fit to do the most extreme work. So what I do is I regroup and I sit. Despite what people think when I'm sitting cross-legged in the park, totally still, I don't know what people are thinking. I mean, I look up sometimes and you see people, they're afraid of you. They don't know what to make. People, when you're original and you do your own thing, and you're not afraid to do it in public, where you're not afraid to be yourself in public, people they're taken back by it, right? And as they observe you, they realize that you're just doing some kind of routine that they don't understand what it is. You're not some crazy person that's going to try to kill them, right? And suddenly they're not afraid of you. They're just like, oh, there's that weird guy again doing his, he's leaning against a tree and he's been totally still for the last 8 minutes. He has not moved. Is he dead? Is he in a trance? They don't even know what the fuck I'm doing, right? Because I don't know what I'm doing. Because when the guru points at your chest and says, enlightenment is within, only you can find it. And that's what you have to do, right? And I think that what I just said, and what I just told you, and what I just outlined is something that the vast majority of people do not understand. And unless you understand that, it's very likely that you're going to fall victim to the next wave of flu by wearing masks, by staying away from people, by sanitizing your world around you, by sedentary living, by continuation of poor eating habits, by not understanding mind over matter, all those things. So that's what I'm talking about, right? So anyway, man, they cannot feel that vibe, brother. They cannot feel that vibe, brother, says Lord Rothschild once again. Yeah, I don't think they can. I think that, I think most people, I was born in leap year. So anyway, that's what I think, man. Those some heavy thoughts. That's some heavy shit for the last, take us out with some heavy stuff. But two political parties. Let's have a party. A Republican Party and a Democratic Party. And I'm not excited about either one of them. I think Trump wins. I think Trump wins hands down. I think Trump is putting all his energy into not being cheated. And if the Republicans can come together on that one note and actually have a fair election, you lack iron, Marcus, says David Bros. See how people are always fast to tell you what you need to do? Yeah, see that? Thank you, David Bros, for making my case. Or eat red meat. Do a blood test. Positively diet, says Weevil. So the point is that I gave you one instance of my weakness. Everybody goes through weakness, whether you want to admit it or not. Sometimes you're just having a bad day. For whatever reason, it does not matter. It doesn't matter. I know people drink and they get a hangover and shit like that, and that too is part of the life cycle, if that's what you do. But the fact that a blood test is not going to tell me anything. I do blood pressure all the time. There's a machine down the block at the Rite Aid that I use all the time. I use that machine I buy shampoo and stuff in Rite Aid, but mostly I use the machine, and I do blood pressure. I used to own the blood pressure machine because I was a dietitian and I had one. And I'm able to not, when the machine is on my arm, I can feel the pulse, the systolic and diastolic, the two beats. And I can determine my blood pressure based on the pressure of my arm without looking at the screen. And usually I'm right. I'm within a few points off, a few points of the actual blood pressure. But blood pressure is important for someone like me who has low blood pressure and always has low blood sugar, all that shit. And weight is important. But as I lose weight, yeah, there could be. It is diet. It is degrees of exercise. But even there, having a bad day, having bad days, ebb and flow, is normal and necessary too. It's like the weather is not always blue skies and sunny and perfect climate for humans. No, sometimes it's fucking miserable. The wind blows. Who benefits from the wind blowing? The trees. Trees love that shit. It shakes out all the dead shit. Or heavy rains. Who loves that? Everybody else but humans. Right? Fills up the reservoirs with water for the animals. The plants love it. So the storm, windy, snow, frozen. The trees need that. The trees need to fertilize for the next season. Right? Take a rest. Take a break. It's a cycle of life. It's the cycle of life. Unless you understand that, right, and analyze it for yourself. All the comments of people saying you should do this and you should do that. Maybe you are right, but only I could find out for myself what the problem is. What I'm trying to say is I am the great doctor and lawyer of my own existence. Without me analyzing my own existence, my own breath, my own aches and pains. Oh, those are great. When you do certain yoga, you analyze your legs. Oh, I got a bad knee. Oh, that's my ankle hurting again. I can't do that. Oh, that's that pull from when I was a kid. Oh, that fucking arm thing hurts. Right? And you go through all those aches and pains, and those are all lies that your body is telling yourself. Those are all points of places where you need to work. You can work through all of those. Any ailment you can work through by rebalancing your body and not leaning so heavily, disproportionately on those parts of your body. You can run differently. You can change your mechanics and balance. These are all things that you can only teach yourself. And that is my talk. That is my very spiritual. It's almost not even spiritual. It's biology. That's all it is. And now for some spiritual music. Thank you, everybody. Thanks, everybody. Thank you, everybody, for joining me. Sterling Price is in the house. Vinny DiMartini on the wrench. Give a round of applause to the wrenches for keeping the dicks out of the house. Mary's here. Her pooper's here. Bebop, the Gulang, Lord Rothschild, Jason Walsh, and everybody else. Quantum Epic, Nathan Purvis, Weevil Girl, Jason Walsh. Thank you all. Thank you, everybody, for sharing, man. And we'll keep watching the RNC, man. We'll keep watching. We're gonna keep watching the RNC and see if something else happens. Right? We want something else to happen. We want something.